entire history of 1 century of world heavyweight champion.
Say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
More than just a boxer.
I am the king of the world!
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Watching his fights.
The greatest boxer of all time.
Like a lightweight, quicker than a lightweight, used his legs.
The greatest, the champ, Muhammad Ali.
He was the most perfect athlete you ever saw. And
he once said, it's not bragging if you can back it up.
Off whip Joe Frazier gonna whip Muhammad Ali.
And you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for...
Ali was one of them.
I am the greatest.
But as
Muhammad Ali.
What happens when you combine unparalleled skill, unshakable confidence, and a voice that echoed far beyond the ring? You get Muhammad Ali, a fighter who didn't just win matches. He transcended the sport and became a global icon. His name wasn't just feared in the boxing world. It was revered. He wasn't just a champion. He was a revolutionary force who changed boxing and influenced history itself. But how did he do it? How did a brash young fighter from Louisville rise to become the greatest? And why, despite all the challenges, does his legacy still inspire millions today? Let's step into the world of Muhammad Ali, the man who danced like a butterfly, stung like a bee, and shook up the world. Early life, the making of a champion. Muhammad Ali was born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky. From a young age, he was destined for greatness, but few could have predicted just how far he would go. His journey began at 12 years old when his bicycle was stolen. Enraged, he told a police officer that he wanted to whoop whoever took it. That officer happened to be a boxing coach, Joe Martin, who suggested that young Cassius learn to fight before seeking revenge. That fateful encounter changed his life forever. Ali quickly showed promise in the ring. His speed, footwork, and relentless drive made him stand out. He dedicated himself to the sport, training tirelessly and refining his craft. By 18, he had already won multiple amateur titles, including the coveted gold medal at the 1960 Rome Olympics in the light heavyweight division. His victory on the world stage was just the beginning of an extraordinary career. His Olympic triumph wasn't just a personal victory. It was a statement. The world had just been introduced to a new kind of athlete, one who was not only supremely talented, but also charismatic and fearless. However, despite his Olympic success, Ali returned home to a segregated America, where racial discrimination was still rampant. This experience would later shape his political and social views, fueling his desire to stand for justice beyond the ring. Rise to stardom, shaking up the world. Ali turned professional shortly after the Olympics, and from the very start, he was different. He didn't just fight, he performed. With an unrivaled ability to predict his opponent's moves, he would often taunt them, declaring which round he'd knock them out in. And more often than not, he was right. His confidence, combined with his poetic trash talk and dazzling skills, made him a sensation. In 1964, at just 22 years old, he challenged the reigning heavyweight champion, Sonny Liston. The boxing world doubted him, calling him an underdog with too much mouth and too little experience. But Ali proved them all wrong. He dominated Liston, making him quit on his stool, and was crowned the new heavyweight champion. That night he famously declared, "I shook up the world." And he truly had. A new name, a new purpose. Shortly after his victory, Ali made a bold and controversial decision. He converted to Islam and changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, rejecting what he called his slave name. His embrace of the Nation of Islam and his friendship with figures like Malcolm X made him a political and cultural lightning rod. Ali was no longer just a boxer, he was a voice for change. This transformation wasn't just about faith, it was about identity. Ali embraced his new name with pride, refusing to answer to Cassius Clay in interviews or conversations. It was a declaration of independence, a refusal to be defined by societal expectations or historical oppression. His stance, however, alienated many and intensified scrutiny from both the media and government authorities. The fight. Outside the ring, Vietnam and exile. Ali's principles were soon put to the test. In 1967, at the height of the Vietnam War, he refused induction into the US military, citing his religious beliefs and opposition to the war. His defiant words, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong," made headlines worldwide. The US government did not take his resistance lightly. Stripped of his boxing titles, banned from the sport for over 3 years, and facing the possibility of prison, Ali stood firm. He became a symbol of resistance, speaking out against racism and war while continuing to inspire people across the globe. Eventually, the Supreme Court overturned his conviction, and Ali returned to the ring in 1970. But the world had changed, and so had he. The greatest battles. Ali versus Frazier, Foreman, and time. Ali's return to boxing led to some of the most legendary fights in the sport's history. His 1971 showdown with Joe Frazier, dubbed the Fight of the Century, was a brutal war that ended in Ali's first professional loss. But he didn't stay down for long. In 1974, he faced the seemingly unbeatable George Foreman in the famous Rumble in the Jungle. Using his now legendary rope-a-dope strategy, Ali absorbed Foreman's punches until the champion exhausted himself. Then, in the 8th round, Ali struck back, knocking Foreman out and reclaiming his title. It was one of the greatest upsets in boxing history. A year later, Ali and Frazier met again in the Thrilla in Manila, a fight so grueling that both men nearly collapsed from exhaustion. Ali emerged victorious, cementing his status as the greatest. His fights weren't just sporting events. They were global spectacles that transcended boxing. Ali's ability to command attention, defy the odds, and win on his own terms solidified his legacy as one of history's most remarkable athletes. The final years in the ring and retirement. As the years went on, the wars in the ring took their toll. Ali fought too long, suffering punishing defeats to Larry Holmes and Trevor Berbick. In 1981, at 39 years old, he retired from boxing, but his impact extended far beyond the sport. A legacy larger than boxing. Ali dedicated his post-boxing years to humanitarian efforts, philanthropy, and activism. He became an ambassador for peace, helping negotiate for the release of hostages and supporting countless charitable causes. Even as Parkinson's disease began to take hold of his body, he remained a symbol of strength and resilience. His lighting of the Olympic torch at the 1996 Atlanta Games remains one of the most iconic moments in sports history, a testament to his enduring influence and spirit. The legend lives on. Muhammad Ali wasn't just a fighter. He was a movement. He stood for justice. He fought for what he believed in, and he never backed down from a challenge, inside or outside the ring. His impact on boxing, culture, and civil rights is immeasurable. From a young boy whose bike was stolen to the most recognizable athlete in history, Ali's journey was one of triumph, controversy, and redemption. He proved that true greatness isn't just about victories in the ring. It's about the battles you fight in life. So when you hear the name Muhammad Ali, remember, he wasn't just the greatest in the ring. He was one of the greatest figures the world has ever known.